August 7th, Jackson County Commission work session to order. Have a roll call.
District 1, Mr. Duffy.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Venable. Present. District 3, Ms. Gilbert.
Present.
District 4, Mr. Sis. Present. Chairman also present.
We have a quorum present. I have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Guthrie.
God, our great Father, creator of all things, we're so pleased to be here, to be in your presence and the presence of each other. We're thankful for the ability and the privilege to live in this county, to be served, and to serve others in this county. We're thankful for all of those that choose to serve the public in public service because of their giving of their time and their efforts and their contribution to others. God, we're thankful for that. We're also want to offer a special prayer for Mike's father. We pray that you'll be with him, and God, if it be your will that he be returned to a good measure of health, we pray that you'll be with the Sis family, give them comfort and guidance through this troubled time. We're also thankful, God, to give thanks now for our school kids that they're going back to school this week and last week. We pray for them, pray for a good, safe, and prosperous year for them, and also for the teachers and administrators and other employees that work with them every day. They do a great service, God. We're thankful for them also. We pray you'll be with them and guide them each and every day. Pray you watch over us and guide us in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is approval of the agenda. We have 8 items on the agenda for discussion. I wanted to add one final item, number 9, regarding just a quick discussion on the paving, local paving projects. That's just to outline path forward. So are there any questions or any other changes before we proceed? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda with that one item, that one change? Motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, we have no one signed up to speak this evening, and we have 9 discussion items now, so we'll begin. First item regarding electronic poll books. The probate judge, I think, was going to share a little bit of information on what we're looking at to proceed with that.
Yeah, so most of you, I know we didn't have it at all the precincts in the November general election, but we had those iPads, electronic poll books, at a good number of them. I think about 20 precincts we had them at. We're going to do a limited trial of that again in this special election cycle. We were able to borrow some of those from the Secretary of State, and so we're going to use those. We had some of them where you had multiple iPads that would slow down during the day. We have a few polling places that we do that. So we want to try this again with these, with an additional number for this special election. We're going to use them, and we expect next year to own and use some. So there's some different vendors that the Secretary of State's office has approved. We've got about $30,000 in HAVA funds. It's federal money that the office got back. You remember, Mr. Porter, how long ago? A long time ago.
A while.
So we still have about $30,000 of that money that's in the Secretary of State's office. It's at their office or home, of course. So what we're figuring on, the prices that I've received on these things are going to be around $1,200 a piece, depending on how this special election goes, how many we need. Because if we had one at each of those places, or if we double that, Scottsboro we had 6. If we have to put 12, that's 6 more. Stevenson, Bridgeport we had 2. If we have to put 4, that's 4 more. So we're looking at around $50,000 to $60,000. I just wanted to tell y'all that's. I mean, we have an option. It's entirely up to you all to continue to use the paper list if you want to. I think the other ones worked really well. I don't know if where you all vote, if they use them or not. I know that y'all did. I think they worked really great.
Yeah.
I'm really pleased with them, and I'd like to see us use them. I also understand the money thing. So we've got about $30,000 that we're going to be able to invest in this next year. Just wanted y'all to know that if we do it, we're going to be about 30 grand short. We'll own these. These will be similar to the machines that we have for people that are vision impaired. that the county owns those, okay? The ones that you put your ballot in, you lease those from ES&S every election. But these poll pads will be owned by the county, so it'll be up to us to repair them, be up to us to store them and all that good stuff, just like we do with those 88 machines. Y'all have any questions for me?
What's the life expectancy for one of these pads?
Don't know, they're brand new, so we don't know. I mean, it's, in all honesty, the ones that we've used prior were just iPads. So, it's not gonna be using any different software or anything, so once you get it, nobody drops it, turns it over to the car, it's like they're on a while, looks like.
Next question is how long it will be before they're obsolete?
Good question. Good question. No idea. I mean, you know, in these, I mean, you're not gonna be continually doing different stuff with them, all right? You're not running different programs. I mean, it's the same thing. We have a laptop that we've been using to do the election reporting for years. Not changed, nothing's changed,
So
it's still fine.
The software and everything can be updated on the equipment?
I would think so, as needed to be, as long as the voters list and stuff, you know, the way that the Secretary of State does that, as long as that don't change, I don't see why it would be any different. And then the program because it uses a magnetic strip on your driver's license, it makes it, I liked it, I thought it was pretty neat.
How are the information, the voting information, how is it extracted from, is it plugged up to a computer
Yeah.
when they bring it to the courthouse?
Now, these are just the poll books, so what they're returned election night, then they're sent down to the Board of Registrars, and then they're able to, I don't know how they do it, need to ask them, but they plug a cord into it and import, so when you go vote, everybody gets credit. You go and vote, you get credit. If you miss too many elections, I guess they purge you, I don't know exactly how that works, so when you go, I think presently, without these, they do it with a scan gun and a ruler, a piece of paper, to give everybody credit. This will import everybody that votes, and you get the right person because you're the only person that's got your driver's license. This has nothing to do with casting a ballot, zero to do with marking a ballot and voting, okay? This is just getting you to get a ballot. When you go with your driver's license and you set it on the tray and it takes a picture, you notice it's Jason Venable. But then you still get your same paper ballot and you go mark it as you always have, and then you put it in the machine. So this has nothing to do with the process of casting a ballot.
So you won't be voting on that machine then?
No, never have. No.
Okay.
This is a poll book. There's a paper poll book. When you go to vote in a special election, you're gonna write your name on one of the poll books, in one of the party books. They'll print your name, you'll sign your name, they give you a ballot. Whereas with these, you set your license up on a tray and it would scan Mike Sisk and it would have your address, it'd verify that stuff, you'd sign on a poll pad, and then once that's returned to the Board of Registrars, they would import it with a cord rather than having to go into it manually. But you still get your same ballot.
So you still gonna have to have the same help to maintain, keep this up at the voting sites, right?
Oh, yeah. And that actually, interestingly enough, that's set by the machines. Per machine, we're supposed to have at least one inspector and 3 poll workers per machine. So there's not any per voting machine.
Really, the only thing this does is speed up the process
That's right.
after the fact.
It does, and I could see, you know, if you're easy and you go through there when you're voting or when the Board of Registrars are giving credit, if you get off on the wrong line, it may or may not give you credit. It's not anything bad. It's not going to change that. It's by no means is this changing the accuracy of the results of an election.
Right.
But when you can just plug that thing up, it just makes things easier, quicker.
When would the funding be needed for this?
I really wanted to try to get through at least half of this election cycle, this special election cycle, to see what machines we wanted to, because we'll be needing to use them in June. I think next year is a June primary. If we're gonna do it, you know. I mean, if you don't have the funds, that's fine. They're not gonna take this half of money away from us.
That was my next question. Is this something that's gotta be spent then?
No.
Or could you do half now or half later?
No.
You can, I would say either do all of it or do none of it, because if you're still using paper books and iPads, then you're just, you know what I'm saying? I would either, if you can't do it now, I'd just put it off and wait and do
I was
everything
thinking some of
because
your more busier polling places or the ones that have larger numbers maybe.
you could, but then when you get down to the ones with one machine or one book, and then you end up with an election like we had this past November, it's still gonna slow everything down. And as far as the board of registrars are concerned, I don't know that it matters to them, but as far as us and trying to keep up and train and everything, I would either do it or not. I mean, because like I say, we can set on this money. If we need to wait another year, we can just set on it. Another reason, you know, a lot of times the longer you wait, some stuff gets cheaper, some stuff gets higher.
Any other questions or comments? I don't think we've discussed this in the budget meetings, correct?
I didn't have any good numbers.
Okay. So I guess we'll take a look at this, maybe have this on another work session for further discussion and see how we want to proceed. Is that appropriate? So, again, knowing that there's still, you want to get through this election, it'll be first of next year before we know for sure.
August, what's around, September? By September, we should know what's working and what's not working.
Okay. So.
And another thing, Miss Gilbert, another thing, if you do have changes in something, if we bought half now and half 2 years later, if those change in any way, then we end up with two different kinds. You know, I don't want to get into,
Training.
yeah, because I'm afraid we lose money. But I mean, we'll do it. By all means, we'll do whatever you guys want to do.
We want to look at the 2nd of October to put this on the next work session for discussion. That'll give
Sounds good to me.
all right. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. Judge.
Thank you.
All right, next item regarding fertilizer spraying in Flat Rock. This has been brought up, I think it's brought up in a work session previously. I don't want to limit discussion, but everybody does have a letter in their packets with an invitation to go and understand a little bit more about how this process works. I think it'd be wise for us to take advantage of that opportunity to understand, you know, the process, how it works, so that we can move forward with any other discussions that need to be had on this. We do have some representatives from Denali Water Solutions, is that correct? And they said that they are willing to answer any questions. Of course, we can ask anything now. They said they'd be willing to stick around a little bit after and answer any questions. But I do think it'd be wise if we set a date as soon as possible and accept this invitation to understand a little bit more about how the process works. So, is there any question or comments on this right at this point? I think if we do this and then, of course, come back to another work session, have further discussions. We also do receive a letter from the mayor's office. They wanted to clarify that the city of Chattanooga does not actually do any of this spraying. And of course, this gives a little bit more clarification as to how the process works and what's happening there. So any questions or comments?
I'd like to talk with them. I mean, don't have to right now. I appreciate you coming forward.
Sure.
Because me being a farmer myself, and but I don't want anything put out there that's gonna be harmful to anyone, you know. So we'll wait and have some questions here in a little bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
If there's no objection, we can look at a date that would be suitable for most everyone and set a date. We'll have to announce it, but set a date to visit, and I'll be in contact with the lady that this letter's from and confirm, how that will work. But if everyone's interested, then we'll try to coordinate it that way. Does that sound appropriate? Okay. You guys have anything in particular that you can share? All right, then we'll proceed that way, and we can plan on probably having this back on the agenda if we can get something set up here in the next several weeks, and maybe in September we can have this on this agenda after we've been to understand some more about it. Okay, next item will be regarding the temporary maintenance position for Jackson County Park. Mr. Barnes.
Yeah, well, the person I have right now, their date is up the 18th of this month, 6 months, and this is the second time we've hired them, so I need to see if I can't hire another temp employee at the park. So we're still mowing grass and, we're kind of stretched thin this summer.
Any questions on this? This is something we maintain as temporary employees throughout the year.
So this was allowed for in the 2018 budget, you know,
We'll always do it in 6 months.
I think 6 months is the maximum amount of time
It
per,
is.
per instance,
And you can do 2 6 months.
per individual.
Right.
So, are there any questions? If this is budgeted, if there's no objection, then we can move forward with the process and submit a name when,
I should have your name by next Monday.
okay, all right. So if there's no objection, we'll proceed with as stated. Okay. Next item regarding the COA bus surplus, Ms. Thurman?
Yes, we have 2 buses that need to be rotated out of our inventory. One will be to replace the 2017 bus that we should be receiving before the end of the year. The second one, we're going to go ahead and ask to surplus it because the transmission has gone out in it, and they told us that it would not be feasible to fix it. So we're going to look at having to purchase something else. They've got some from other agencies that might be less expensive than a new one, but in any event, we have to rotate them out because we replace buses. We're not adding to our service. But we've got those 2 that, and I believe that Larry talked with you, Jonathan, about going ahead and putting them on gov deals. It seems to be the easiest way for us.
This is just a surplus it, or will we'll be looking at some new buses to replace this one?
The one of them, we already have the new bus coming in for this year. And then we have the next one, yes, we will need to replace, but it won't be until 2019.
So one of these right here is the transmission is bad? Or one of these
Both of them, actually.
transmission?
Mhm.
They're not gonna bring anything like they are. I mean, what is the cost to replace or rebuild this transmission? Have you had any input for the cost?
Yes, I believe the last one that we checked on was something like $4,600. And because of the mileage and the wear on the bus and the rate that we're supposed to take them out of service at, the ALDOT let us know that it was not feasible to fix the bus, that we needed to look at getting one that was either surplus from someone else and that didn't have any problems, or to go ahead with a new bus.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, if there's no objection, then we'll place this on the agenda next week for, to vote for surplus on these. Okay. Next item is regarding a third-party agreement, regarding COA. Ms. Thurman?
Yes, this is just for you to agree for us to enter into a third-party agreement with 2 different entities that we have contracts with for transportation. They are billed on a miles an hour basis instead of a per ride fee. And we just have to have your approval to go ahead with this.
Any questions or comments on this? Is this something done annually?
Yes. Well, actually, we do the contracts annually, but to my knowledge, this is the first time we've ever had to do a resolution. They're changing a lot of things. I think they're getting a lot of new mandates.
Any questions or comments on this item? If there's no objection, we'll place this on the agenda next week as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item regarding the sanitation recycle tech position, Mr. Robinson.
Yes, sir. I got our organizational chart on top there to show that we do have a vacancy position for another employee. A few years back, we cut back and we didn't actually lay nobody off. We let a couple go to Public Works, and then we've had one of the directors to leave, and I moved up, and then one of my guys, drivers, moved into the route foreman position. So that created a vacancy on our organizational chart. On the second page, you'll see that we wrote up a new job description, and it's for recycle tech. Our recycling is continuing to grow all the time, and we have had a temporary for the last 2 years that has been staying busy. I mean, it just keeps him busy. So with that being said, it's also been his second 6 months that he worked for us. So I would like to request, if possible, that we just go ahead and make this a full-time position. And probably if we do, we'll have to approve the organizational chart change and then approve the job description.
Are you looking to maintain the driver or basically change that driver to this tech position?
It'll be changed to technician, recycling technician. I'll drop it down and make it recycling technician.
Questions or comments on this?
Is this position already in the budget?
Yes. We
It's
discussed it.
gonna change job titles, basically what it amounts to.
Yes, it'll change the job title there from driver selector, because with these automated trucks we've got, and I have a flow for that, and then I have a roll-off driver. I do believe that in the future, we'll be good with our drivers that we have now, unless we have to add another route or another truck in somewhere.
What's gonna be the difference in pay on this?
This is gonna be a grade 4, step 1.
The driver's grade.
For grade
The grade what?
5.
Any other questions or comments? You ready to move forward with this? Proceed?
Yes, I'd like to, if y'all would, if we could approve it, I'd like to go ahead and we'll do internal for the first week, and then we'll do probably external thereafter.
If there's no objection, we'll place this on the agenda next Monday for approval. Okay. So it'll be on 14th. Sanitation surplus, Mr. Ross?
Yes, this is a piece of equipment, the rollout that we bought, and which is doing very good. He had a manual tarp system on there, which caused the guys, they would have to climb up and down a lot, kind of very dangerous. And during the process of that, the tarp on it tore up, so we put a new automated tarp on there so that one guy can go out and do these jobs and keep everything safe. This piece of equipment, we really have no use for it anymore. It won't fit nothing but a roll-off. I mean, so we can put it on a dump truck or something like that. And we really don't have a good place to store or put it. With that being said, I would like to request if we could. There's not a real high demand for those needed just at the present time, but I would love to get that surplus. And I already have a municipality that requested or interest or showed interest in it, so.
Any questions or comments on this item?
Those 1,500 on here is kinda what you think they're
Yes,
within.
that's where we, because the tarp bid, that's a $500 for the tarp. If the tarp was on it still good, I'd at least want half of the cost of it, but since the tarp is gonna have to be replaced.
Any other questions or comments? You plan to place this on Gov Deals or work with local municipalities if they're interested?
Local municipalities.
Okay. All right, so do we have we'll do that again next week. If there's no objection, then we'll place this on the agenda for next week as well. Okay, next item's appointment to the Alabama Mountain Lake Tourism Board. We have had a vacancy on this board. Ms. Marilyn Lott's position is vacant at this time. That does not, position does not end until September of next year. So we have had one person interested in participating on this board, and they've submitted a letter requesting that. So if there's no objection, we'll place this on the agenda next Monday to fill this position. We'll take nominations and then fill this position next week. Any questions or comments on that? Okay. Place that on the agenda next week as well. The final item is regarding the local projects, local paving projects. And Mr. Campbell had a recommendation on how to proceed. Mr. Campbell?
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. We touched on this in our budget meetings, but we didn't elaborate on the process, so what the chairman's referring to is how we plan to proceed with our local paving projects. The projects that you guys have chosen for us to resurface locally, we plan to prepare a plan set for those. We're still in the works of preparing those for paving, so we're planning on having a plan set ready and then advertising those, inviting bids on that. And then we'll be back before you with the bids that we've received and for your review and award. So it's near 8 miles, but the need for this is basically due to what we touched on in the budget meetings with our resources. When we allocate the folks that we need to prepare the roads for paving, then with our numbers, those folks are not available to do the paving if we're going to be successful in paving what we have planned for this year.
Questions or comments on that? Any objections to proceeding with putting a plan together and looking at a bid process? If there's none, don't necessarily need the commission's approval to submit a bid, but if there's any objection to the way that we want to proceed, we need to know that now before we put all the plans together and pursue a bid.
How many bids we trying for?
We'll advertise and then invite, but we'll invite all the contractors that we're aware of or have bid in the past for this type of work.
If there's no objection in proceeding in such a way, then we'll put a plan together and we'll notify the commissioners when it's time when we're preparing the bid, and put that out there, and then of course the commission will have to approve whatever results we get.
How many men does it take to put a paving crew together?
We need minimum 10, but it's 12 to 15 is typically what it takes. It takes about all of us to pave. We're on 155 right now, and still we need to reset a box culvert, and there's 2 to 3 weeks worth of work. There's quite a bit of cross drain replacements needed on 38. The road's in pretty good, relatively good shape, but a lot of that on 155. Once it's like we talked about, in the other projects, but once they deteriorate to the point of then they have to be reclaimed or turned under, basically repaired. The length of time it takes to have those roads back up, ready for new chip seal, it costs more time and more expense to prepare those. So 38 is not to that shape, but it's still going to have a lot of cross-drain work before it's ready for pavement. And so that would be the last one we would look to get in this project we're speaking of. The guys could still be preparing County Road 8 in-house, and then our goal will be to pave that in-house before the cold weather catches.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Then we'll keep you informed and keep us all informed on how the process goes.
Yes, sir.
All right, thanks, sir. That concludes the items for discussion for this evening, so we'll move on to our reports. Mr. Robinson, you have anything?
No, sir.
Ms. Thurman?
No.
Chief Deputy?
No, sir.
Mr. Campbell?
I just wanted to update you all on the projects, the federal aid projects. County Road 33, Phase 2, as we've been calling it. Signs should go up Wednesday, and then we're looking at least a mid-August start date on that. So that's County Road 28 to County Road 32. County Road 63 project, that's still on track for November letting. It's right now, it's in at ALDOT, plan review, later stages of that. So we're still looking for the November letting on it. And then County Road 42, which is the last one approved. We're preparing a scope of work with ALDOT right now and having that project engineering record finalized. So we're looking at summer 18 for that letting. And then this week we'll likely advertise for a County Road 92 bridge rehab, which that's our design build that we talked about some. So there'll be an advertising period that we're looking to start upcoming week, next week. And then there'll be a pre-bid meeting that we'll hold with likely contractors or bids. And then, once we have that design review, then we'll actually have the bid opening, and then we'll be back before you to present that and, select for the award for the bid.
Any questions on that?
33, how long is that project you think will take? Barring weather and everything?
Yeah, I wanna say there's 30 working days, so it'd probably take half that if weather's good.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Manning?
Nothing.
Mr. Porter?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Barnes? Judge?
No, sir.
Mr. Venable?
No.
Mr. Sis?
No.
Ms. Gilbert? Okay. That concludes everything we have on the agenda for this evening. We will take a 10-minute recess. We did have a budget meeting scheduled to continue afterwards. We can make that short if we need to. We can continue that if need to. But we'll take a 10-minute recess, determine what will be further on that, and return in 10 minutes.